on my CV, I had too much information. You know, as you said, I'm the top of where I am in South Africa, but it's just too big. The business in New Zealand is just doesn't comprehend to the size of what we do here. So, you know, the first couple face-to-face interviews, the guys were like overwhelmed. I think I scared them away with the amount of knowledge I have. So what I did is I used an approach of backing down my CV, pulling a lot of information out, highlighting on only certain aspects in my CV, then looking through the companies that I'd already spoken to over Skype and, well, not over Skype, but, you know, seen my video CV, and then only focused on those specific items for that specific company. And I found that they were more zoned in, more focused on that, and more interested. When it came to me running through my whole CV in a company, they were like, they kind of get distracted and they start doing other stuff, and because they like overwhelmed with it. And then you start feeling very disheartened, and you're like, this guy's not paying attention to what I'm saying. And, you know, those emotions go through you. And it's insane what you go through emotionally when you're with these people, because you've only got a few minutes to break the ice. So you have to pinpoint what their specific need is and only look at that.
How many written job offers did you secure at the end of this?
I secured 6 written job offers, and 2, they actually are in the process of developing adverts based on my CV so that they can align it to specific role that no one else can apply for it, because they've literally taken my CV and said, this is the scope you have to meet, and put that on the internet as the advert for the job. And, you know, it's been a difficult choice to choose which company I want. The interesting thing was, across all the companies, I mean, it was close to 100 companies that I stood in front of someone from Auckland, Hamilton, Tauranga, Wellington, Christchurch. I mean, I stood in front of literally 100 people and told them my story. Those 100 people had 100 jobs. Out of those 100 jobs, because I didn't have paperwork, that scared them. So they were a little bit concerned about the fact that they had to do something to get me there. Other companies, the smaller companies, were extremely interested, and they were scared that now someone's coming into a position that's too big for what they need. So I wrote those off, took the emotion out of my head of no, we don't want you, because that's the hardest thing to deal with, is that constant no in your head. And am I good enough? And I know all of this stuff. Why don't they want to look at me? So that's when, after about the first 40 no's, I kind of worked my CV to align for each company. A lot of stuff we didn't speak about is how you go into a company. A lot of companies don't have receptionists. A lot of companies you don't have any clue who that person is. You're greeted by a computer health and safety card that you have to fill in on a little iPad at the reception counter, where a reception should be, but there's no receptionist. And then it's all computer generated. Here in South Africa, we don't have that. So you feel very out of place with all of the equipment. And once I got at ease with it, and once I figured that process out, and once I figured out how to get someone in the building to come down and talk to me, as I said, the New Zealand people are very, user-friendly, come to help you kind of thing, and put you in the right place. So once I figured all of that out, it came a lot easier. But the success, I mean, through Wellington, I had 1. Tauranga, Hamilton, I had 2 in Wellington, and then 2 in Christchurch. If you look at the success ones, I specifically looked at each role, each place, each company, what they do, how they do it, did my research. And I mean, I researched all 100 people that I went to visit. So when I walked in there, I knew their company back to front. It took a lot of work. I was there for 3 weeks only. I was under pressure. So all I was doing all night was planning my day and what companies I'm visiting the next day. A very important thing to do in Auckland is to plan your route. The traffic in Auckland is hectic. Christchurch, you can drive from one side of town to the other side of town in 6 minutes. In Auckland, you need a couple hours to get across town, especially depending what time of the day. So if you plan your route and you use Google Maps, which is an awesome tool, to each company and then from each company to the next company, that time all I was doing was researching companies and putting information related to them. So I had a spreadsheet of the companies. I had a list of notes related to the company and then comparisons to my CV and to my skill set. And even if I had the smallest little possibility of hope in my skill set, I still listed it and expanded on it as much as I knew, so that when I went to visit the company, I only focused on that. And that, I think, was my success to getting those offers. If I'd used the same approach for the first 30, 40 visits, I probably would have been more successful sooner